I think I was so unbothered with myself at this point. I was like, I don't even care because I've been so bad, it can't get any worse. And I got signed for a fee that is rumoured to be somewhere around £50,000 to £100,000. He has ideas that you don't even consider being a thing. Some of the moves he pulls out, I'm like, why did you even think of that in the first place?
This week on the Full 90 podcast, I sit down with one of the best FC players on the planet today, and also 1/3 of the #House supergroup, the one and only Tom Leese. We speak about his headline-grabbing move from #United to Excel, the struggles he faced on the pitch and off the pitch at Excel, and what life really is like living with Shorey and Harry Hesketh. You simply cannot miss this episode of the Full 90 podcast. This podcast is proudly part of the Acast Creator Network. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Full 90 podcast. You might be wondering 3 very interesting things. 1, Richard, I hope you're okay, because that looks like a really nasty cut on your lip. Number 2, where are we? Well, I can tell you where we are. We're in Manchester at a lovely studio. And number 3, where's Brandon Smith? Well, Brandon is away, unfortunately, on business duty, but I took the responsibility. I said, it's time for a podcast, and it's time to get a good friend of mine on the podcast. A real cornerstone of the UK FC scene, a E-Premier League champion, a European champion, a YouTuber, content creator, nearly 400,000 followers across all social media, and 1/3 of one of the best FC groups on the planet, the one and only Tom Leese. Welcome to the Full 90 podcast.
That's some introduction, you know. Smiling the whole way through. But yeah, pleasure to be here, Richard. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming. I've got to start right current day. #House.
Yeah.
Congratulations first. I saw you hit 100k not too long ago.
Thank you.
Every video seems to be a banger at the moment. How did it come about? How did #House sort of the origins of it? Were it a quick moving project, and how has it been really starting a YouTube channel from the ground up again?
Last question has been a crazy experience. To start a YouTube channel on 0 subs, no idea what's going on. You know, you kind of sit there with the boys and we're saying, oh, first video will take 20k views, 30k views, just get the ball rolling. And then it kind of exploded from there. I think we kind of got put together in 2020, because of me signing for #. Obviously, Shorey and Harry were there the year before. And then we built what I would say, I mean, Spencer probably gets the credit for this, but he built probably one of the best esports teams in the space we've seen in # in FIFA 20, where the way we were, you know, we were all doing content, playing really well. I think I was 3rd, Harry was 8th, Shorey was top 25, 30 as well. So we were then together then Harry left for Fnatic, and then I had 1 year with Shorey at 21 that was really good as well. And I think we were always involved in content, always living with each other since it started. As soon as it happened in FIFA 20, within a month of me signing, I'd already started living in Spencer's house. So we was already together, working together, living together, creating content together. And we kind of just all became best friends from there. And then we took a 2-year break. I think me going to Excel, Harry did his own thing, got into content, and then Shorey stayed at #. And I think it was always in the back of our minds, we were like, no matter what I do now, this is not as fun and not as enjoyable as being with the boys. Because obviously we living on my own last year, living at my mum's. It's fun, like you're playing pro, creating content, but you can't replicate being with them too. And I think, yeah, just 3 best mates that thought, you know what, it's time to come back together again. Didn't expect it to be like this, better than what we thought, but yeah, loving it.
You've obviously moved as well.
Yeah.
Big move for you, from the south, from London up to the northwest. What's it been like, sort of, this last 7-8 months, if you were to just put it into words?
Big commitment, you know, moving, because I've lived in Brentwood, I've lived in Twickenham, all for FIFA stuff. And then this is like, okay, you're actually moving now because you're not 40 minutes away from home. You're 3.5, 4 hours away. So it was a little bit difficult at first. I think as well, my brother's moved to Australia, so it's like we were all gone then. And we're both gone, and, you know, leaving my mum at home. It was a bit weird, but they all knew it was kind of what the best thing was for me. And I think I actually really like the North. I like how friendly everyone is. I like, you know, every time I go out, every time I do something, even playing 6-a-side, I can't say I go out all the time, every single minute of every day I'm taking in northern culture, but I'm definitely, every time I'm out, every time I'm doing stuff, I really like it up here. I think it's really friendly. Manchester reminds me a little bit like London, in a sense, with all the way
just
it is.
less busy.
Yeah, it is. Just a little bit less traffic. And then Liverpool's different. Liverpool's a bit more rogue from when I've been. But yeah, I really enjoy it. I think the main thing I prefer is there's no sweaty underground if I want to get somewhere like today. And people just seem more approachable and more friendly.
I did say 1/3. It should have been 1/4 because the unsung hero of this group, last thing on sort of current day before we go back, GC, I imagine he helped in settling down you as well, moving from south to north, bringing someone with you who is like obviously a lifelong friend of yours.
Yeah.
But also from the outside looking in, he's integral to the success of the #House channel. How much does he do behind the camera that we don't see to put these videos out in the way that they are?
GC does everything. I knew he could do it because of what we worked with each other before. He's been my best mate 14 years, and I always knew he compliments me really well. And I knew he'd be able to step up. It's been a massive step up because, yeah, as you say, these videos, he's gone from making 12 to 14-minute videos on my channel, one person, just talking about the game or playing the game, to making like 50-minute episodes where he's a cameraman in the time, and then he's editing all as well. Yeah, he does everything, really, because as soon as we're done filming, it's like, okay, next time we see the video, it will be maybe an hour and 10 long, and then we just have to cut it down. But it's already been edited by George, by Nerdfire as well. He's part of the editing team now. But yeah, George, he's the organisation we need because the three of us aren't organised, I think. We don't really pride ourselves on being very organised. We just get stuff done. We're always just, whatever it is, we're getting it done. If it's a stream, if it's a YouTube video, if it's a TikTok, or we're playing pro. But to be able to consistently upload every Thursday, every Sunday, and now every Wednesday with the second channel, it's like you need that person above you that's pulling all the strings.
You've made some quite interesting decisions. We will move on from this and we'll go back and sort of talk about your career and the highs and lows. Mm-hmm. But you've made some interesting decisions that I think are really fascinating that maybe you've not sort of spoken publicly about as the three of you. You're doing really long videos, as you said, like 35, probably 45-minute videos. To my knowledge, on the main channel, I don't think you've ever took a sponsor, really. Like, not too many.
Low level. Yeah, low level.
Are these all business decisions? Because I'm sure you've had loads of people coming towards you saying, well, can we do this? Can we do that? How the decision-making process, how important is it to pick the right things that you're doing? And especially with like the long videos as well, not just doing 15-minute videos and pumping them out every day. You're doing sort of Sidemen-esque, like sit down, I'm going to watch this style videos. Was that something you decided early on, or was that quite late?
No, I'll be completely honest with you, but we're winging it as it goes on. Okay. Like, none of us have the answers, and I think we're all aware of that, which is the fun part. Because whenever something happens, it's like, right, let's have a debate, because we don't know. We've never done this before. Harry's only done
You've had great success on YouTube, videos. Like all three of you.
Yeah, but we've only ever done shorter content of one person. I think our first video was like 23 minutes long, and now we're doing 50 minutes on a Sunday. And I think it kind of just come from one feedback, so what the comments were saying, what people were saying, like, oh, we need to see more of this, we need to see more of that. And then also just we found ways of innovating it and making it better all the time. So like, right, well, I was the one that was like, we need to keep it shorter. And then the other boys like, actually, if it's paced well and it's entertaining, then it goes longer. Like, if people are going to watch it. And yeah, I guess you check the analytics. I mean, that's what George does. I don't like to check too much. Sometimes I overthink it. But George will check the analytics, see, well, we released a longer video and people are watching it the same amount of time, like still at the same percentage watch. So if people are enjoying it, then carry on. And I think it's just the feedback as well. We're always listening to people, like in the comments, in our streams, whenever we see people, and no one's really complaining. And we mainly go off, if we enjoy watching the video for that long, then we'll put it out. And if we don't enjoy it and we feel like it needs cutting or we feel like it's slow, then we'll cut it down as well. But yeah, it's an enjoyable experience because we are just figuring it out as we go along.
You've been signed to esports organisations nearly 2,000 days throughout your career. I want to go all the way back to the start with Team Futwiz because it seems a long time ago. Talk me through that sort of first year in the esport, getting with Team Futwiz. You qualified for the Paris event back in 2017.
Yeah.
When did you realise that I'm actually quite good at this and I've got a chance of doing something here?
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but FIFA 15 was the first that I would have played on PS4. I think I missed FIFA 14 on PS4.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been, yeah.
So I think I had a year off, and then in FIFA 15 I was playing might have been in year 10 in school, and like we would just do silly things like wages all the time. You know, go around school all day saying, "Oh, when I get home later, we'll beat you," and I'll give me 100k coins. I was much better than everyone I played, basically. So I knew that I was decent. But what are we in now? 2024. That would have been like 2016. Being a pro player wasn't really a thing. It definitely wasn't like a thing now where people, you know, I see messages. Yeah, people like, oh, I aspire to be like Tekkz. I aspire to be like Anders or anyone like that. That wasn't a case for us. And then I was in sixth form, and my mate introduced me to tournaments online. So Gfinity used to hold them on Tuesday and Thursday. There was other websites that I'd go on to try and like offer people out or play them. Not offer people out like fighting them, but you know, wages.
I'll fight you on the pitch.
Yeah, wages or whatever. And I kind of kept it all secretive because I was probably embarrassed. I have a big thing of caring about what people think about me. Well, I did a lot worse than I do now. And I was really embarrassed at school to be going around it. So if something good happened, I'd tell my mates, oh yeah, I won, you know, $50 last night on a tournament or whatever. And I'll never forget it. Do you remember a guy called Quinton?
Yes, played for Feyenoord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I beat him in a tournament, and he reached out to me saying, why are you not a pro? I was thinking, what even is a pro? What are you talking about? And then I looked at his profile and thought, he plays for a pro football club there. How does that work? Started to look into it more. I've got to give credit to my mate from sixth form, a guy called Franco. He put me onto everything. He was like, you do this, you do that. Then he told me about the EA structure in 17. He was like, right, there's weekend league. He goes, you've got to play 40 games a weekend. I said, how long have I got? Friday, Saturday, Sunday? No way.
Back then, I think it was just Saturday, Sunday as well.
Yeah, it was 2 days.
Yeah.
I said, there's no way I've got time to do that. Because I used to play football on a Sunday morning as well. And you're like 17 at the time. But you don't want to... You do want to game, but I did want to do other stuff as well. I got into that, started playing. And I realised I was decent before the first qualifier come around. I was like, okay, I'm getting 36, 38 wins. And to be honest, at this point, I started watching YouTube as well. I think I watched Tass and Harry as my first two. I was obsessed with Tass. I think the way he was speaking to the camera, he just signed for hashtag. And I was watching him quite a lot. I watched Harry all the time. And then I was like, right, I know what this scene is about now a little bit. And in that November, it was a bit of a grind. I struggled sometimes. I think one week I went 36. Last week I went 38 and I went to bed. I was like, I don't really care because I don't know what's going on. Like, I get a trip to Paris, but what does that even mean? So I went to bed and I woke up at 7. I had a Snapchat from my mate Franco, and he was like, mate, you've hit top 12. And he's like, you qualified for Paris. I thought, wow.
Now what?
Yeah, I don't know what happens next. I don't know what happens. And then I missed the first email I got. It went to my junk. So I was late replying to him. And I remember sending him an email back like, I'm so sorry. I've missed the thing. Can I still go? Sent me through. I went to Paris. I remember then realising what was going on. We had a media day the day before. Take headshots, do some video content. I'm looking around. These boys have teams around them. You know, Harry's walking around. There's Spencer there. Yeah. Didn't really know Spencer that well, to be fair, at that point. But I knew
you knew of him.
Yeah, knew the face, knew who he was. Harry, Tass. But the big ones, if I'm right, were Aga and Gorilla.
Yeah, because Gorilla had won the Play Like a Legend, and like 15 and 16 he dominated. And Aga won 2014.
And was Aga playing for PSG?
He would have been, yeah.
And they might have been in the same group. I can't remember exactly, but I remember that group. I played my games in the morning, had no media coverage. Not a single person cared what I was doing.
Is that the one where Bullock played as well?
Yeah, and I think Bullock
got out the group.
beat Gorilla and Aga out the group.
Yeah.
And I remember then, when I started watching them, because I played my games in the morning, and I was just messing... to be fair, I was messing about. I was messaging my mates, like, oh, if you go on broadcast watch, I'll dab when Spencer starts talking and stuff like that. I had no idea that people were even interested in it. I just thought, I'm here and I'm on camera. I'll do something. So I remember messing around. I got out of the groups, and I watched the Gorilla and Aga stuff, and I was thinking... what on earth? Why is this so popular? People were following Gorillas around, this story around, like, oh my God, he got grouped. This is the biggest thing that's ever happened. And then it started hitting on me. I was like, okay, these people around me, I don't know how many, but these people are getting paid to do this. This is a job, and I can see why it's starting to be serious for him. So I finished top 6 in Paris. I lost to Shells, my only friend at the tournament. I made friends with him because me and him got a plane to Paris. I don't know why I recognise you as a FIFA player. I could just tell. Yeah. I think he turned up to his flight in sliders and tracksuit, and I thought that's the kind of guy that plays FIFA. So I was friends with Shells the whole weekend. He beat me, and then he was going to Berlin. So I stayed in contact with him, and I was like, oh my God, that is the best thing ever. Like, you're actually going to Berlin, and the winner got like 160k.
Yeah.
Rest of the year though, I come back, and I'd won $2,000 from Paris. So everyone was like, oh my God, this is so good. And I was thinking, hold on, I got my A-levels in 3 months, and I can't. I've always been told, like, get your school grades, make sure you do well. So I got them. And then I was like, right, I've got a decision to make because I know I'm better or as good as every single one of them players I've just played against, and they're all earning money to do this. I think watching Shells win, he won, I think it was 80k. And I was like, hold on, Shells beat me 2-1 in the 90th minute. I'm as good as him, so I could do this maybe. And then I reached out to Futwiz. I think Dan put a tweet out saying we're looking to work with players longer term. And I'd love Dan to still have the email because it was a very posh, well-worded email. I was very respectful. And I was like, oh, I'm finishing my A-levels, but I know I want to be involved in this somehow. What do you think can happen? And then Dan was asking me, he's like, you look really inconsistent though because you played well to get to Paris, but then in the other months, what happened was if I couldn't qualify, I stopped playing.
Okay.
I was like, I'm not going to waste my time.
Zero wins.
Yeah, so in like the months of other qualifying, I wouldn't be close. But in my head, I was all right, if I've just hit a 35, I can't make it. So I'm not playing the rest of the games. Like, it's actually mathematically impossible.
Yeah.
So Dan was a bit like worried about my inconsistency. And then he took me on anyway because I kind of just said to him, like, give me a try. And Dan was very good. He didn't have to. There was a lot of options at that point, a lot of players that come through. So I always give credit to Dan. And then started in 18, and I was shocking. I was so bad at the start of 18. I did okay in Paris, I think it was. No, that was actually 19. So in 18, I didn't qualify for Barcelona.
Do you remember when we first met in 2018?
In Berlin?
Draft Story Cup.
Yeah.
In Cologne, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that were a good, interesting day.
I just remember playing badly and then getting really drunk after.
Yeah. Good times.
That sums up a lot of my early stuff, I'll be honest. I just used to turn up, play badly, and then go out.
So 2018, bit of a write-off.
I did make Manchester.
Okay.
And that was a sign of... Dan was like, okay, I'll be fully transparent, actually. I didn't know how much I want to say, but I wasn't getting paid with Dan until March of 18. So I took this plunge.
And then qualified for the event.
Yeah, so I took the plunge to play FIFA, but Dan was like, it's an academy deal.
Yeah.
Now, any normal person probably would have got a part-time job. But I had deluded confidence that I can make this full-time straight away. I was like, no, I'm playing this now. I'll beat everyone. That sent me in a bit of a bad way. I wasn't in the best headspace because suddenly you're earning no money. All your mates have just left school, picking up jobs, going to uni.
Probably getting a lot of pressure from people around you as well.
Your family start asking, my mum was always supportive of it, but she was saying, like, I can see that you're not yourself. Are you okay? And do you think this is actually the right decision? Because... you end up not leaving the house often. You have all your mates going out. You can't afford certain things. Every Friday, Saturday, I'm not doing anything now. I'm staying in. Yeah. And it wasn't because at that age, you do just want to be with your mates all the time as well. So I think there was a 6-month period between September and February, really bad. Qualified for Manchester. I played at the Draft Story Cup, played at another tournament, some online one. Did okay in them. And then I think Jamie and Zelonius put me on streaming. So I started streaming a little bit off my console. That's where the cramp clip happened. That's when I still streamed off console. So going in the back of 18, I did okay. And then I was like, right, I'm going to do it another year because I'm actually earning some money. I'm going to make it work. When I said I didn't spend any money, by the way, I literally just wouldn't spend a penny on anything ever. For a whole year, I must have lived off a couple £100 just to make it work. But I thought I knew it was worth it, man. There was something going on in my head where I was like, you are this good, do not quit now.
Yeah, it's interesting you said the word quit then. It's not even set up this because I remember speaking to you Premier League at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in 2019 after you failed to qualify.
Yeah.
And we'd obviously met sort of the year before, we kept in contact, chatted a bit, and you were quite open with me. I don't know if you remember the conversation. You
always seem to get the openness out of me, whenever we have a chat.
You said, I don't know if I can be bothered anymore. I've not qualified for this. This was one thing I wanted to qualify for.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it. I might just stop.
Yeah.
And you were really sort of... I thought I wouldn't see you again. Were you in a bad place? You failed to qualify for Eprem 2019 for Spurs, like one of the only players that actually plays for his team, his boy old club as well. How was that sort of that year? Because it ended really well for you.
Yeah.
So from like February to April, you were in a bad place, and then May you turned it around.
Yeah.
Talk me through that.
So that kind of follows on from the 18 season where because I started streaming, Dan had put me on a better contract. It was part-time wage though. But I thought, okay, part-time wage, combine that with Twitch. I can make that full-time wage. So that whole year I was like streaming a lot on 19, started having people support me. Started having like maybe 100 viewers on Twitch. Started earning to the point where I was probably confident enough to say, right, I'm a pro player now. Like, this is good. And then my performance was rubbish for 5 months. Couldn't win anything. Couldn't qualify for anything. Every tournament I played, I struggled. And then EPrem come around in Feb at Spurs. Didn't make that. And that was like, that's the free hit for a lot of English players. If you're not playing well, you'll probably make EPrem. And that's still a big tournament. Didn't make that. And I started to think, hold on, if I can't make EPrem, what chance do I have against all the European guys? And then that part of my career completely changes when I win the penalty shootout of England. That was the one. I managed to just qualify for that.
I remember being there, beating Tom Leese on penalties, I think it was.
Yeah, so everything had gone badly, and England was a chance to do something. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I think I was so unbothered with myself at this point. I was like, I don't even care because I've been so bad, it can't get any worse. Qualified for that on pens. Probably see a lot. I remember you commentating, saying something about, like, looks like he's crying or something. Like, I was basically in tears because I started to think, I'm not good enough to play after 2 years of thinking that I was. And then, 18 didn't do anything, 19 until March.
You're probably just thinking, what's the point? Like, what?
Yeah, because you can't just keep
sacrificed.
telling yourself you're good. And then the results say you're not. And in them times, you had so many tournaments as well. And every time I weren't there, just watching everyone else play. So after the England one, that's when it all changed, where made England, qualified for ECL. Maybe I qualified for ECL the week before England, actually. They were back-to-back weekends, I remember that. And then, yeah, the England stuff gave me the confidence because then there's a week of my life where a lot changes, and it's the week where Spurs beat Man City 1-0 in the Champions League quarter-final, and Son scores, and I think he runs to the camera saying, do you know who I am? Because that's the week I did a boot camp at the Futwiz HQ with Tekkz for England and then Marcus and Marco for Australia because E-Nations was coming up. In 5 days, I probably learnt more than what people learn about FIFA in 10 years because I had Tekkz in his absolute prime. He could not lose a game, and I just copied everything he did.
We're going to talk about Tekkz in a bit more detail soon. The 2019 season, talking about your headspace, there's so many events taking place, and I'm sure there's people at home now who are wanting to be pro players, even current pro players. There's so limited spots.
Yeah. And
when you don't make it and you're sitting and watching other people, how do you even deal with that? How do you get your head around it that next one's mine? How do you stay motivated? Because it must be really very similar for me. Like, if I wasn't to get asked to commentate something or be on a broadcast, I'd sit there and think, is this it then? Like, am I not good enough at all now?
Yeah, you have them doubts, yeah. I think there's the weird thing that happens sometimes with me is I would look at it and go, all right, I'm not at this one, but I've got to be at the next one. And I would stalk that LAN event. I would watch it all day. I would clip everything up. I'd be watching, following the people that I liked. I wouldn't follow every pro, but it was kind of motivation. It was definitely motivation for me to be like, okay, you're not there. You need to get better. I think the only advice I'd give to anyone, and something that I struggle with, is the financial side of things. The one bit of pressure I felt was, if you're not earning anything, you will get questions asked, firstly from yourself, but from people around you. So I'd say try and never put yourself under too much financial stress unless you're comfortable with it. If you know, okay, I'm not going to earn from it yet, but I might earn from it in 3 or 4 months and I'm happy with that, cool. But I think if I could do one thing different, I would have changed how much financial pressure I put myself under. Because I can deal with not playing, because I know I can just learn. It's always a learning curve. I always know there's another tournament coming. But it's the financial pressure of like, okay, well, you've got nothing in the account. Like, what are you going to do? You can't do this forever. You can't live like that. So I think, yeah, if I had advice, I'd say always cover yourself first and be ready to take the plunge, because there is no guarantee in this esport things are going to go well in any esport.
Absolutely. 2019 ended on a bit of a high. Just missed out on the World Cup by a few spots.
Yeah.
I think it was. And then Futwiz, you leave and you go to #United. Did you ever see that coming? Did you have a few conversations beforehand? I think Dan spoke about it quite openly, saying Spencer was really open and in that sort of business conversation and the contractual stuff and whatnot. But for you, not hearing these conversations going above your head, did you see the writing on the wall that Futwiz were coming to a close and a new door was opening? And was there anywhere else that was coming in for you potentially during that time?
Was there anyone else? No.
Okay.
I think I'd just made my name at Futwiz, and I'd just started. It's weird. I'd gone from being an average player to one of the best straight away, because I remember E-Nations played well.
Yeah.
I won a LAN event.
You beat Nicholas, I think, in your individual game.
Drew to him 1-1. Should have won.
Yeah, they Tekkz lost.
Yeah.
God, Tekkz, come on. That were England's tournament, by the way.
Oh, we were so good that day, honestly. The way we played. Every game apart from the Argo one was perfect. I think there was no other interest, and it wasn't too much of a thing to me. I was friends with Harry at that point, just from seeing him at so many tournaments, and we did have a shared interest, me and H. One, we were both good at the game, and two, we were fairly sociable every tournament.
Yeah.
Like I would always end up going with the people that wanted to, go out after or do something after. And yeah, I was probably a bit in awe of Harry, just the way he lived, and I was excited to become good friends with him. So I think there was like a conversation. I mean, Harry would have thrown it in a couple of times just as a joke, like, need you at the tags or whatever. But I was thinking in my head, I don't want to, because of Futwiz, because I owed a lot to Dan, and I was always in debt to him. And two, the idea of like that much camera stuff petrified me. I thought, sounds good, but I don't actually know. And then they made a formal request. To be fair, it was a clean transfer. There was no dodgy dealings behind your back. Dan and Spencer are probably the two best people in the space.
Very
for
open.
Managing teams, dealing with contracts, dealing with players. I think most players that have worked under either of them would have said they've been treated well. And I'm lucky enough to work under both of them. I think they came in. I didn't really deal with Spencer. Wes was the one that rang me. So I'd been away. I'd been on holiday. And it was like not really a thing, but I think Harry was the one that wanted it to happen a lot. And I think Harry was the one that was pushing it to hashtag, saying, if you're going to get someone, my recommendation is Tom, because, I can see that he's got a personality, but beyond just playing. He probably saw more of a personality than I did myself. And then Dan and Spencer started speaking. I think there was a period where I just had to make a decision. Dan was like, okay, they're interested, but I need to know if you're interested, because if you're interested, then I've got to move quickly to sign someone else. And I just said to Dan, I want to entertain the conversation, so I want to speak to him. I just feel like it was silly if I didn't. And then, hashtag offered me what they offered me. I don't know what I wanted to say. I didn't want to say any money. Hashtag offered me a contract that was, a full playing contract with... There was no thing of like, you have to do YouTube or anything, but it was just a known thing. Like, if you want to make the most of this, you want to come do YouTube. So,
you had a lot of success at hashtag. 1 year you don't qualify for the Premier League. Year later you go on and win it. Yeah. What was life at hashtag like? Because it seems from the outside looking in, if you were during that time, obviously they've moved a little bit away from the real core competitive scene now, but probably during 2018 to 2022, 2023, if you were not 1000% interested in just the top line money, that was the team you wanted to be on, because it was content, it was a real sort of family vibe, it was everything that you wanted if you wanted to sign for a team. Yeah. What was it like inside?
Yeah, everything that it looked like, really. I think I couldn't fake it, because you would have seen so much of it anyway. Like, we vlog all the time for the tournaments. You see us on stream all the time. Like, everything you see is what it kind of is at that point. Harry was great. The only hard part was Harry and Shorey went to Canada, so it was just me and Wes. Yeah. But I love Wes. Wes got a work rate that I like. Stampy was there. They kind of just give you the freedom at hashtag. They give you the confidence, I guess. They give you the platform. They didn't really tell me too much on how I should be. It was kind of like, look, don't go effing and blind in every sentence, because I think hashtag are a little less PG than they were, but they were fairly PG at the time.
Yeah, especially when Spencer were on the broadcast as well, because it was quite a... If you say something that's bad, it also impacts a lot of other factors of the club.
So it's kind of a case of, don't go effing and blind in every sentence. Don't slag off the game relentlessly. Yeah. But that's kind of what you get told at every team, because you're not stupid. Like, if you do want to do well, you're not going to gain anything from doing that. And then really just gave me the freedom, gave me all the knowledge, like just being around. Imagine being in HQ and you've got one room of workers like LP, Neil, Alex, Stampy working on the main edits, YouTube gurus. They've got a channel with 500k there. And then you go into the esports room and you've got Shorey and Harry. Harry's probably the best content creator pro we've ever seen. Shorey is an absolute ball of energy and always looking to improve himself. So you can only get better. You're living with people and working with people that want to improve themselves. They want to push the boundaries as well. Like, they always want to do something that's just a bit out there, and then that kind of inspires you from there. So the part that was good as well is how much we wanted to get better at the game. I think it was easy to just do content. we'd have days. I remember me and H like just doing random stuff, playing the game randomly, like just figuring out. I mean, Harry's got a funny brain. He figures out things in a way I could never.
Harry is probably one of the best fundamental players of that FIFA FC that I've ever seen. Like the way that he can just pick up a brand new game, and just learn it. Like
I think that complimented me a lot because I don't do that. I'm good at fundamentals, but it takes me a while to learn. Okay, this works in this game. Once I mastered it, I'm probably one of the best.
Yeah.
Harry accelerated that process for me because by December I was one of the best. Normally it took me the year before it took me until March,
April.
Yeah, so Harry and Shuri definitely helped. Wes just constant. Wes like a sponge. He watches everything. Comes to me on a Monday and go, oh, I've seen Boras do this skill move here. What do you think? Watching it straight away. I've seen what Tekkz does here. Just bringing me clips, bringing me information. You just, I think it's impossible to not improve.
Is there a little bit of you that hurts deep down that you didn't win it for Spurs, the Premier League?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. We went for Watford because there was a lot of partnerships that were the same. We're both sponsored by Football Manager, both sponsored by Adidas. I hadn't qualified for Spurs year before, so maybe I was a little bit scarred as well, where I was like, actually, I don't know. Like, I just want to make sure I'm there now. In my head, I was like, just be at the event. Then went for Watford because it gave me a chance to team up with Shuri as well. So, yeah, a little bit now. As I look back, I'm like, you were probably good enough to go for Spurs. Top. Yeah, but I think I was lacking confidence, and I was like, I just want to be at the event. By the time I got to the event, I qualified in like Feb, and then in August, I'd done what I'd done. So it's like, I look back at it, I was like, you were definitely good enough to play for Spurs. But yeah, it happens. I think that's one thing I'm probably chasing now. Where I'm like, if you are going to win EPREM, can we do it with Spurs, please, and get it done?
You had a couple of events during that year where you were wearing a Fnatic jersey. I've got to ask the question. Obviously, you and Tekkz, good friends still to this day.
Yeah.
Ever close to signing for Fnatic? Because it seemed at some points like the writing were on the wall.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah, I think like best mates in the scene. You were obviously playing together. There were a lot of rumours as well during that 2020 season that coming up in the next couple of years was a lot of 2v2. And it just seemed like this is the next move on. He's going to go from hashtag, he's had a great season, and then Fnatic, it's there for you.
You know what it did actually? Now I think about it, it was very much like that, where a lot of chats inside were a bit like, oh, well, you know, Tom, you carry on like this, you're going to go one way, because I think it's well documented that hashtag don't break the bank for all their players. And if you are playing at a certain level, you are going to go to a next bracket of like, you know, where the top guys are. And I was getting there quicker than I thought I was. But then I was like, I've signed at hashtag for multiple years here, and what they offer me long term and the love and care they give in terms of like, you know, being able to live at Spencer's house, being able to be around Wes, Harry, Shuri, like passionate people, something that no matter what money you throw, it can't really buy it. And then Harry left in 24 Fnatic anyway, because it wasn't really possible for me to go. I'd only done 8 to 9 months by the time that season had ended and things had started moving. I don't know what the conversations were with Fnatic and Hash. I don't know if they asked for me, if they asked for Harry. I don't know how that went. But obviously their interest went in Harry. But I think it was a lot harder to get me because I didn't really... Like every time I spoke to Spen, I was like, I'm not really bothered yet. I don't want to go.
Yeah, because Harry moved on for the timeline.
Yeah.
But it seemed like... From the outside looking in, it looked like it was you. They couldn't get you, so they went to Harry. But then Harry's probably got more upside in content creation.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know what Fnatic wanted at the time. They might have wanted Harry to do content with Tekkz to be the way he was. I also think, I don't know, I didn't have the conversation myself, but every time me and Spen spoke, I was like, I'm not ready to go. Like, I just left Futwiz for 2 years. I've been at hashtag 9 months. I don't think I was ready myself because of how good that first year had been. I was like, why do I want to stop? Where I'd finally got myself in a position I was full-time. That was enough for me. I didn't need the loads of money at that point. So, yeah, I don't know what the conversations were, but it probably looked like that from the outside. It's like, hold on, Tom did all this with Tekkz. Why is he not gone? But I don't know what the conversations were. It's just, I was happy at hashtag.
Talk to me about Tekkz, because he is, I mean, arguably the greatest player to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a list of achievements longer than, well, nearly longer than everyone.
Yeah, my arm, definitely.
You've probably, out of everyone, spent the most time with him in terms of a competing capacity.
Yeah.
Whether it's 2v2, whether it's 1v1, and you're playing individual games each. Firstly, on the field, what does he do that other people just simply can't? And then off the field, Donovan, what is he like as a person to be around?
on the field,
Yeah.
his composure. I think Nicholas is the only person in the world that gets close to being as composed as him. Talking what he does in game, he has ideas that you don't even consider being a thing, and it's crazy. I don't know. We need to get a brain scan on him one day because some of the moves he pulls out, I'm like, why did you even think of that in the first place? Why is that coming to your mind? And I think his other thing that has probably been changed in the last couple of years and been made more difficult because of the way the game's gone. His press was the best thing I've ever seen and will ever play against. I've played against Anders, Dosari, and Tekkz. No one has ever pressed me the way Tekkz did. The first couple of games, I remember being in the HQ, I took it so personally. He beat me 4-0 with his rubbish team, and he was scoring goals for some Iron Robin card. I was fuming. Wouldn't speak to him for the rest of the evening because his I could not move. I couldn't believe it. You think you're good at the game, right? You're a pro. Suddenly you're in your own halfway line. You can't get out of your half. I think his press, his skill moves, and the way he thinks, his composure as well, and his mentality. I've played across a lot of pros. His attitude to practice, the way he looks at the game, how calm he is when he's losing, winning, his belief is mental. Just never, ever, he goes 2-0 down. He's like, yeah, but I am going to win this game. You think, no, you're not. And then he does it. Like, his belief is crazy. So I think you combine all of them. And yeah, his willingness to grind, put that all together on the pitch. If we're talking off the pitch, the man Donovan we're talking about, I say he's a man now.
He is?
Yeah, how old is he? 22?
I
think he is. I think I'm 25. I think he's 3 years younger.
Yeah.
I would have met him when he was about 18, 19. Off the field or away, just in normal life, he's as calm and composed. Nothing really irritates him, but he knows what he wants. He'll never put himself in a situation that he doesn't want to be in. He's very firm in his beliefs that, if he doesn't want to go out and do something stupid, he's not going out. He don't care for pleasing people, for going out. If he's uncomfortable in a situation, he won't be there. He'll know when to leave. He's funny. He's always doing random stuff. He goes through periods of like grinding random things. Like he'll just be like, oh yeah, I'm top 100. Was it NBA or NFL player at the time? He went through that period. Then he goes through a period of doing something else. He's always doing something. He went through basketball at one point, which is just relentless basketball. What he is passionate. I'd say he's passionate. Like whatever he does, he has to do it 100%. He doesn't do anything half-heartedly, which I guess is infectious because once he's grinding something, you want to be on that train with him and be around him. So, yeah, he's caring, passionate, and I guess his energy is infectious.
When you were at Hashtag, I feel like at some point there was a conversation of him maybe going to Hashtag.
We wanted that all to happen, yeah.
Were you pulling the strings there? Were you doing what Harry did previously, trying to have a word with Spencer and say, look, I know we don't pay loads of money, but if we are going to open up the bank for one player, this is the guy?
I think Spencer's documented this, that before COVID, Hashtag could have had a very different situation with money. I think there was something that popped up. I mean, I won't talk about it too much. I don't know if it's my place to say. But there was this talk where Spencer said to us, what do you want to do? And we're like, we've got this team here that we would consider a super team. There is one ingredient missing, and it's Tekkz, because he's better than all of us.
Time to bring in Erling Haaland.
Yeah, like a Man City team, that would be a Tekkz, that Hashtag team. And I think COVID destroyed the whole thing because of... I think we were interested in getting him. It would have been hard because he'd signed a contract at Fnatic, and I'm not saying that was possible, but there was definitely interest on the players' end, whether Spencer and everyone else involved. But you ask us players, we don't care about the big wigs. We're saying, right, we want Tekkz because we've got everything else. Get us Tekkz. I don't know how possible it would have been, but what I do know is COVID ruined a lot of the momentum for Hashtag at the time.
One more thing I want to speak on before we go to a little break for half time. The transfer. It made Sky News. It was documented very publicly. I know sort of Spencer's talked about it, and you've also spoke about it as well. The questions that I don't think have been spoken about. Firstly, for people who don't know, what happened?
I spent 2 years at Hashtag, and I got signed for a fee that is rumoured to be somewhere around £50,000 to £100,000. To this day, I don't know the fee because I didn't ask.
The one thing I will ask you, did you see any of that fee?
No. I got told that quite a lot by a lot of people. They're saying you should have seen it. But be bluntly honest, I was very happy with the situation I got anyway. So I wasn't going to chase any more.
You went to XL, and we'll speak about XL in the second half because it took up a big portion of your life and changed probably your life moving forwards. However, there was more than XL on the table.
Yeah.
I don't think if you've spoken public about who was else in for you. during that time. Is this the time to sort of say where life could have been differently?
Yeah.
Because there were a few teams that wanted you in that time. You're in the prime of your career, and where could you have ended up?
Guess I am allowed to talk about it now, right? Yeah. I mean, if I do say anything that I'm not meant to, I apologise. I don't really know what the rules are, but there was Tundra at the time. They were with Dosari. Dosari just left maybe, or was still there. XL and this is really bad. It's a Saudi team.
Falcons.
I think it was Falcons. I can't remember now. That's really... Do you know what? I can't remember. I wasn't interested. I kind of played it and I wasn't interested. I knew there was no way I was going to go there. But there was 3 teams, and when I say there was an actual bidding war going on, I had conversations with all 3, yeah. Honestly, I thought I was the man at one point. I had a week where I was in the HQ and I was living with Yanni at the time, and it was just like, oh yeah, Yanni, someone else on the phone there. Someone else is calling. You start thinking, like in my head, I was like, this is how football transfers actually work. But yeah, I don't actually know the 3rd team, so if it isn't Falcons, I apologise. It was Saudi interest, but...
And was there ever a conversation of you staying? Or as soon as that fee came in, did you know personally that you're always getting shown out the door? And did you even want to leave?
To be honest, I was pushing Spencer more than Spencer was pushing me out. Spencer wanted to keep me. He was like, but I know I'm getting against other teams here that I can't compete against. Simple as that. I didn't want to leave. I did want to leave. I pushed it out.
Why?
Just because it'd been 2 years. It was just me and Shorey. Wes had gone, Harry had gone. I'd realised that you could carry on without the hashtag bubble, watching Harry. And I say wanted to leave, maybe that's a bit harsh. I knew the interest was coming, and to be honest with you, bluntly honest, the money was too good to walk away from. Like, any person would have done it, I think. Like, even when I spoke to Spen, because first time I spoke to Spen, I looked for his advice. I said, Spen, something's going on here, and I know teams are interested, and I know there's a chance to, like, go put my money up quite a lot in terms of salary. What do you think? And Spen's like, anyone in your situation would have their head turned. I didn't knock on his door and go, get me out of here. I kind of said, if it's right for everyone, do you think this is a thing? He said, yeah, but you're getting a fee because you're under contract. So that's more than fair. And if it doesn't work out, I'm more than happy to stay.
Did you... it's a fascinating subject, so I'm going to continue asking questions about it and see if you can answer them. Did you have representation at the time individually, or was it all with hashtag?
It was all me.
Okay.
And I'd had loads of agents come up to me, and I thought, well, you all want one thing. You want a percentage of what's going to happen here.
Do you wish that you had, or...?
Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing, and it affected my next contract a little bit because when you get a page of 40 contracts, I'm not...
You don't read it.
I'm not a lawyer. I would just play a video game. I don't want to look at all that. Like, you look through it. I'll be honest, you look through the contract, how much am I getting paid? How long is the contract? What do I have to do every month? So what do I have to do on YouTube? What do I have to do on Twitch? That's all you really care about. Then there's probably 40 pages of words that I can't even fathom. I don't even understand half the words. So I do wish I had representation, yeah.
The other thing I was going to ask you, sort of, when you are in your situation, you go out, you speak to people. It was during COVID, so you're probably sending a lot of messages. You're probably in Discord calls. It's a very sort of closed off subject how much people get paid at esports teams, but a lot of the pros speak to each other and sort of say, "Well, I'm on this much, I'm on that much." Did that linger in the back of your mind that I'm better than 99% of these people, and they're all getting paid more money than me?
Yeah,
I've got to level up, and you were quite honest with Spencer during that process, but. Did that also turn your head when you're hearing, well, this guy from France is on 7k a month, and I've just beat him 5-0? That's a completely made up.
Yeah,
it probably never happened, but
I think it's close to the truth.
Yeah,
in terms of every player in the FC space knows what other people are earning. If you want to, like, if you want to get involved in that circle, you'll know. You can start asking around, and people will tell you because it benefits the players. We need to know what each other are on because that's the only way you can get market value. You're probably told you shouldn't say that. You probably shouldn't know each other, but people are going to talk about it because how else do you value yourself if you don't know what someone else is earning? If I know what Tekkz is earning, what Anders is earning, what Nicholas is earning, and then I know what a mid-rate player, like say top 70 is earning, I can probably put myself somewhere and go, okay, this is what
You're
I
going
think.
to say something then, weren't you?
No, let's just say mid-rate like 70th, then you know the top. You can start figuring out, okay, if he's earning that and he's earning that, what can I do? So yeah, you are aware of it, and that probably was part of the conversation where I'm like, I know what I could earn, and I'm also aware. The conversation with Spencer, I remember actually going into his office and speaking to him about it. I was basically said, this career is really short. I've already been in it 4 years, 5 years. I'm not stupid. It will only go on 10 to 15 at max. I've got a chance to secure myself in a crazy situation. What do you think is possible? And then, Spencer said, if he gets money for me, it will happen. And I was very content with that. Like, if I stayed, it would have been fine.
What's the most amount of money you've earned from just prize earnings in one go?
It would have been EPREM, I think, 20k at once.
So you see 20k just straight into the bank account?
Yeah, but I've had quite a few of like 10 and 15s in a row. I think I'm lucky in that situation. I've never had a massive win, and I think sometimes you get a massive win, it can all go out the window straight away. I've earned it in a way that where it's like, if you earn 10, you're like, okay, I'll just put it away.
Over 200k in prize earnings.
Is that what it says?
Yeah. Is that accurate?
It must be, yeah, it must be. I think it would be, actually, because, I've competed 6 or 7 years. Yeah.
Wow. Where's all that money gone now?
To be fair, I just save it. Yeah. I'm very much I'm not tight, but if any prize earnings, because I haven't factored that I'm going to live with that, I try and base my life off what am I actually earning every month. Prize money's a bonus. It doesn't count. So I just put it away straight away.
Well, there's plenty more to come up in the second half. We're talking about Excel, a life-changing decision that Tom had to make and where he chose the next couple of years of his career. What it means playing for England, the trials and tribulations that representing your country come with, and also what is it really like living with GC, Harry and Shorey. Plenty more to come in the second half. United, making Sky Sports News headlines and moving to a rejuvenated Excel. They made a huge splash in the scene. They brought in yourself and Gorilla. They brought in Yavi as well, one of the best coaches in the game. It was a long contract for yourself. It was, would you say, life-changing amount of money?
Yeah, close to.
What happened during your time at XL? I suppose that's the only way I'll phrase this question, and the floor is yours. I know you've spoken about it before, but you've not spoken about it maybe. There's no one else here. No one's watching. So take it away. XL.
I think I'm still trying to figure what happened in my head. I think a few things. My first problem was I thought I knew everything. So when I got there, I thought that, I call the shots. I've signed for a big fee. You guys need to adjust to me. I think they were a little bit different to what I expected in terms of their aspirations, the way they wanted to build the team, what they wanted to do. I think one of the big things I always recite is Kieran signed me. If you remember Kieran, Kieran Holmes Darby, is that his name? He signed me a month into it and then were left within a month of me signing. So then we had a new person take over, Tim. And I think Kieran was the one that was really passionate about getting that team together. And then obviously with a different ownership, different manager, it might not be the same. I actually got on with everyone at XL. I've got nothing bad to say, but with the people there, like Tim's passion, I don't think he wasn't signed to make the FIFA team the best it could be. Their interest is League of Legends. That's their big thing. And I think we kind of got pushed back a little bit because of that. Like as a result, like Tim came in to fix the League of Legends team, and it's like, hold on, you've got this FIFA team here as well, by the way. But it wasn't like maybe the big project that I once thought it was. Because when I was with Kieran, I thought we could change the way FIFA Esports is looked. We could become a serious team that, how the other esports do it. I thought there was potential there to do that with the facilities they had and the money they had on offer. I really saw like a world where we could change FIFA Esports in general and the way teams operate. But yeah, I think it kind of got put down the pecking order. And then ultimately I will blame myself though. I look back at myself, my attitude, the way I thought things were playing out in my head compared to how they actually were. I'm probably at fault for 90% of what happened.
When did you realise that it was not necessarily going downhill, but you were moving towards, I don't know if I'm going to be here much longer?
I mean, if you in terms of moving downhill, I got I got bad feelings from the start, from the very start. Within a month, I was a bit like, we actually don't see eye to eye the way I thought we could. Like, there's quite a lot of things that I would ask for or push for that would then get pushed back. Maybe I'm a little bit of a diva at times. Like, I know what I want and I know what I think could be successful. So, yeah, maybe I pushed a bit hard. I think when I actually started to come to terms with the fact that I wasn't going to see my contract out was probably Jan or Feb last year. So they terminated in May. And I think 5 months before I started to, in my head, think, all right, be ready for something to happen here just in case, because, you know, relationships started to die down a little bit.
Would you say when you go back, would you do it again?
If it played out the same way it did?
Yeah. Because I don't think you're going to say the amount of money. It's completely your decision if you want to or not. But the amount of money that they'd put in with you, with Gorilla, I think to a lot of people who are listening to this, they will go, yeah, I would have a bad time at work, or I would not necessarily, not enjoy it, but I would have a less desirable than my previous workplace.
Yeah.
At work for the amount of money that you were getting paid.
Yeah, that's what I accepted. As soon as I left, I said it's never going to be hashtag, because it's just not going to be. Like, I'm working with my best mates every day, and I accepted that. And I think, as you say, I've got to be real here. Like, getting paid handsomely to do a job of playing a game and being a creator, it is very good. So I can't sit here and say I was so hard done by, or, you know, I hated it. Would I do it again? The answer is probably yes, because the situation's put me in now. But the actual experience, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I have to say I'll do it again because of where it's put me today in this present moment. But I wouldn't. There's no feeling of like wanting to go back there or anything and do it again.
Mental health wise, during that time, how were you? Because money only helps so much, and you came away from a family, as we called it at hashtag.
Yeah.
It was a very much a move that it was business orientated, but also you saw a vision. You were the negotiations, I suppose, were very promising. How did you cope, especially in that sort of first 18 months during XL?
I found it tough. I found it really tough, but I understand people watching are going to look and say, Tom, if you're getting paid well, you can't say that because you are just meant to put everything behind, apparently. But I found it tough because quite a lot of things happened at once that I wasn't ready for. So I'm being completely honest with you. Don't want to take it down too deep of a road, but within a month of signing for XL, I lost my nan. I lost my granddad in May of that year when I was actually playing for England. I was playing for England and I had to jump off the broadcast because I found out. So lost my granddad, lost my nan, broke up my girlfriend at the time, moved to Twickenham, which isn't that far away. It is only like an hour and a half, but you are living away from all your family, all the people closest to you. So you had all that to happen at once. And then suddenly you're getting paid as this transfer where it's like, you better deliver. I'm not stupid. You go on Twitch every day, they're saying it. You go on your YouTube comments, you're saying it. The people you talk to, I'm not going to hide from it. XL signed me to win. They didn't sign me to do anything else. It was because I was one of the best players in the world and they wanted to have that in their team. So as soon as you start not doing that, it can go wrong very quickly. I think my response was to isolate myself, which didn't help. Instead of, you know, talking out on content about, you know, guys, I don't feel great at the minute. It was just a case of like, I've got to win, so shut up. Like, no one cares. Just get on with it. I think the same for everyone else, where I didn't want to admit anything was going wrong. Because it's like, you've been signed here. You can't then claim that you're not feeling great or you know, have bad experiences, because shut up and get on with it. In my head, that's what I was saying to myself. So yeah, I think it did suffer, but I'm also aware to put it in context that it is like, at the end of the day, I'm just working a job that was getting paid well, and there is a lot worse problems, I guess. Was
it just yourself who could tell that it weren't what it was made up to be? Did you have conversations with him? Did Yavi, I think it was Sam?
Yeah, it was just Sam
was there as well. Yeah. Could you all sort of tell that this isn't where we want it to be, and like we're not going down the path that we thought we were going to go down? Because I think performance-wise on the pitch, you did have some good performances. The Club World Cup in Copenhagen, I actually thought you played really well. You lost to the eventual winners on pens in the quarterfinals. You win that game, you might go on and win it. The Team of the Season Cup, I think, was a bit disappointing. I think you played in another tournament as well where you might have got knocked out in the groups.
Premier League.
Yeah. So did the performances on the pitch also reflect what was happening behind the scenes?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever played as bad as 22. 22 is a shocking year. I finished about 170th in Europe West, so not even all of Europe, just the West side. I was that low.
I didn't know it went that low in Europe West.
Honestly, I stopped checking the leaderboard. I used to check leaderboard all the time.
Scroll.
Got to about page 8. I'm thinking, is my name actually here? Am I still playing? I think 1v1 it was a disaster. I think 2v2 we managed to salvage something, but I think me and Gorilla had a different eye for what XL was. Gorilla was probably a bit more aware of how it was going to work out. Like, I had this vision where I was like, right, we're going to turn this into a super team, and we're going to be similar to Hashtag. We're going to vlog everything. We're going to create content around it. But then we've got an ingredient that Hashtag didn't have at the time. We've now got the best players as well, because at the end of 21, obviously Harry had gone. Shuri hadn't played as well.
Got loads of money as well backing it.
Yeah, so I had all these ideas thinking, think of what we can produce when I could produce stuff on a G7X camera vlogging. What can we do when we have a whole team? XL have photographers, video guys that will come on tournaments with you. I had all these ideas. A few things come to mind very quickly. Me and Gorilla didn't look at it the same way. I think you look at, especially content, he was very much like, I want to focus. So when I'm trying to vlog in the house for a tournament, I can't say no to that. I don't blame him at all. Like, that's what I realised. Not everyone does want to do that. So that was the first thing. Second thing, I was like, I actually can't force personality out of people here. I'm not with Harry. I'm not with Shuri. I'm not with George as much. I'm not with Stampy. I'm not with Wes. These people might not be used to being on camera. So my response was probably not to do it. Instead of like powering through and figuring a way around it, I just buried my head in the sand a little bit. I had a period at XL where I really buried my head in the sand. And I think I gave up pretty quickly. Probably by December of the first year till March, there was a period then when I was like, I actually just have no direction. I've got no idea what I want to do now. Like, this is not what I want it to be. I hate living here because I'm away from my family when I want to be around for them. And I probably gave up a little bit quicker than I should, but because I wasn't getting the answers that I wanted straight away. But probably what it needed was a conversation on both sides where we just discussed the vision of what we actually want, and then we'd be a lot more aligned.
I think XL are a great organisation, and
Yes.
The things that they've done in the esports scene are outstanding. But for you, I think it was just you moved from the Sahara Desert to Antarctica. Like, you went from a very closed environment. You knew everyone there. You knew who were going to... If you needed something, you knew exactly who to go to. And you went to an organisation that 30, 40 members of staff, the person that you're speaking to might not be able to directly impact something. And it was just not the move at that time, I think, for you.
So certain things I found difficult were you'd ask for something, as you said. I'd ask Sam, my manager, it's got to go somewhere else before it gets done. And I'm like, why? And then they might say no because it doesn't line up with what they want, which is completely fine. At the time, maybe I wasn't in the best space. I would take them kind of things wrong and badly and be like, all right, well, I'm not interested, don't care. If you can't give me what I think is working, why are you not working around me? When you work in an organisation like that, you're right. Like, it is hard when certain things get pushed around and have to wait a week or 2 or 3 or 4. And I probably just, instead of trying to cooperate, I kind of just said, all right, well, this isn't quite what I want it to be. I don't really know what I want to do now.
Let's talk about another massive organisation, the FA in England, because you've had the privilege. You're probably the second most capped English player on FC. Behind Tekkz. You spoke about England a little bit earlier in 2019 where you won the spot, you qualified and you got that spot. Throughout the rest of the years, I don't think there's been a direct qualification. I think it's sort of been these people are getting brought in, whether that's from a coach, whether that's from an advisor at the FA. I'll start positive first. What does it mean to when you're representing England? I mean, you've done it, I think, twice on LAN. When you put that shirt on and you know that I'm representing this place and this country, what does that feel like?
Yeah, it's when you start realising, I guess, how good you are. Because you're like, hold on, I am the best in the country if I'm playing. Especially in 19 and 21, I won the qualifiers. There was one in 21 that was online as well.
Yes, I remember that actually, yeah.
So I was like, that's that feeling, knowing that you're better than everyone in your country and you deserve to be there, is a good feeling. I think playing for England, that 19 LAN, that E-Nations one with Tekkz, is probably still to this day one of my best ones. I think top 3 I'd put it on, just because it was so good. You know, working with the FA, being involved with the FA, wearing an England kit. Like, I'm in the hotel room before thinking, what are you doing in an England tracksuit? Like, how do you get to wear it? Now, it is, I get it, it is just for FIFA. I'm not a football player, I'm not on the team, but, you know, then getting to film with the players as well. I think I've probably filmed with like every England player. And, you know, you've got, I remember Kane asked me what I do for a job, asked me about the tournaments, Phil Foden. I'm sitting there thinking, what is going on? You know, these guys are footballers. They're way above me. So I guess, yeah, it has been 5 years now, and it is mental to think about every time. And just, you do feel a sense of pride, definitely, when you're playing. You think, yeah, I'm playing for England there.
Best England player?
Well, at the game.
FC?
At the game, it's between Phil Foden and Tammy Abraham. Yeah, both good players. Foden used to be better. I think he stopped playing a little bit, though.
Okay. It doesn't always go to plan for England. With that sort of responsibility, there also comes a lot of pressure. And also, in real life, there's only 11 players who can make the team. In your case, there's only 2 who get to actually play, maybe a squad of 3 or 4. The pressures of playing for England, and also I remember in 2022 in Copenhagen, it was a real poor performance from England, given the calibre of team that we've got. How would you summarise sort of that last, I would say, because we've also had 2 tournaments in a row now where we failed to qualify, with the E-Nations Cup in 2023 and then the Euros this year taking place. What's not going right, I suppose, the best way to put it, because the performances of the pitch, England should always be qualifying for international tournaments, very similar to real life.
Yeah.
So what's going wrong?
It's hard to say, because I haven't played much of 23 and 24. I'm not putting myself out of the blame there, because I think I do play a part in it. And in 22, I was the sole reason it went wrong. I'm not stupid about that. I think one thing England really suffers with is the players not looking to support the main people that play. As soon as they're not involved, they're not supporting. Would I say myself included? Probably at times. I've had time. I'm in a good headspace now compared to where I was, but I've probably had times where I'm thinking, well, if I'm not playing, I don't care. It seems like a cultural thing where it's ongoing, and like, I think the players feel it. In 22, I really felt it. I felt like every pro player was talking about me, saying Tom should not be there. Because I probably shouldn't, I'll be honest. It probably should have gone Stingray at the time. I think Stingray was playing really well. But it was a 2v2 tournament. What's to say Sting and Tekkz play well? No one knows that answer. I think it's hard because, yeah, there's probably a bit of a mentality issue with England in Pro FC at the minute, where whoever's not playing, there's not enough interest to make it work and make, you know, how does the country play well? Whoever is selected, how do we make the best of them? You don't see any tweets wishing Tekkz good luck or congratulating him much. Same way in 23 when we went out, you don't see much going on. I just think every player wants to play, and there's probably an issue where it's like, well, if I'm not playing, I don't care. And it reminds me a bit of like the football team back in the golden generation, right? Where it seemed like they cared more about...
Man United players here, you got your Chelsea players here.
Yeah, they seem to care more about, well, if I'm not impacting it, it's not me playing, then I'm not interested. Now, again, I want to make sure it's clear. I do take some of the blame for that. I've probably had that mindset at times where it's a bit like, hold on, I'm not playing, so what's the point? I haven't been selected. The people who are playing can deal with it. And I think it is difficult. It's difficult to find a partner because I partnered so well with Tekkz. I think we all know that Tekkz is the best player in England and he is going to get selected based on reputation, form. Most years he's been top 1, definitely top 2 every single year, right? So he's always going to get picked. Problem is finding a partner is not that easy because me and Tekkz weren't on the same wavelength. And then I think we've realised that being on someone's wavelength isn't easy.
You can't just throw someone together.
You can't just say, right, well, the next best player will play with Tekkz, it'll work, because everyone's played with him now, I think. Everyone's had a go with him. doesn't necessarily work like that. So it is very, very difficult situation. I don't think it's a case of people not trying or anything like that. I think it's bad luck this year with Tekkz and Euros, but I just think sometimes it's 2v2 is a lot harder to gel than 1v1. And the only thing I would ask for is for the pros to kind of come together a bit more and push each other forward, because if we want FC to grow, want English FC to grow, we are going to have to be on the same team. Unless you're going to create beef, like real beef, then you might grow that way. But if you actually want to organically grow, everyone's got to be on the same page.
You would also probably say, while talking about English players and British players, that the E-Premier League out of the 6 major leagues is probably the worst in terms of performance as well, when you look at the players down the list. Do you think it has any sort of correlation?
Well, I think the other thing to look at, although you said England should qualify, is there much investment in England compared to France, Spain, Germany, Netherlands? They invest, they have a league, they have people getting paid to play the game. Apart from the upper echelon of English players, I'd say there's about 5, and I'm not even in that anymore because I don't get paid to play the game. There's such a gap, whereas in other esports or other countries, there'll be 15 players, 20 players that are all paid professionally to play the game. So they are going to be better at the game, because a lot of people now in England, it's like I turn up for E-Prem, not getting paid to play E-Prem, and I might be earning £500 for a part-time team, but they're not going to put the same time and effort into it. So I think some of the problem with English growth is there's no investment in making these players better. The next generation that come through, there's no real reason for them to play.
Very well said. You said you're not getting paid to be a pro anymore, so it takes me on to content creation, because it's something that you have excelled in, I would say. No pun. Nearly 400k social media followers across all platforms. When did you realise, I suppose, Zelonius and Jamie are to blame for Tom Leese exploding into content? You said at the beginning of the podcast they got you onto it. When did you realise that if I'm not going to be unbelievable at the game, having this backup option of being able to stream to 1,000 people on a weekend, or being able to make a YouTube video that gets 100,000 views, is very important, and also to your personal growth, in terms of you might not have got that XL deal if you didn't have good socials backing it up.
I wouldn't have got that deal. I know that for a fact. That's the first thing that was mentioned, like how do we use your socials to then grow XL as well. So I think I've always had it in mind. Since 18, Zelonius and Jamie told me to stream, and then Castro raided me at the start of 19. Thank you, Castro, because he, crazy growth off that, got me partnership, and then carried on from there. Then when I was streaming, I was like, okay, this is cool because people can actually follow me. And then I started relating it to sports, because esports, it's not sport, but there's a lot of similar concepts. You know, you want fans to follow you on the journey. The more personable players will get more fans watching, better for everyone, right? So I think I started to realise, hold on, I'm doing this all anyway. I might as well document it. Like, if I'm going to play practice games, I'm going to play Weekend League, I might as well play it on stream. I wasn't comfortable in front of the camera until like mid FIFA 20 though, because I remember Wes did an outro on the first vlog I got to, and I said, don't forget to hashtag it at least 7 times, and I could not say it. I was like, don't forget to hashtag it, and I was literally shaking like a leaf. So it took me a while to get used to that. And I think the hashtag vlogs are where I fell in love with what we were doing. So I was like, we're actually creating memories here that no matter what happens, I can watch that in 10 years and just be put straight back into that moment. And that's my own moment that I enjoy, like E-Prem, like Atlanta, like Italy, where I play with Tekkz. You just find them moments instantly. So I was kind of like, okay, this can kind of just be my journal, that I've then evolved into making them, you know, not just, hi, this is Tom and I'm vlogging. You want to make them well produced now and better than that. And I think, yeah, since 20, I've known about putting content in and how much it can help going forward. What was the actual question again? Remind me.
Just the importance of it and seeing your growth as well. Are you surprised that so many people have got on board?
Yeah, I struggle with this. I think I see myself as a fraud a little bit, because I always think, why do people watch me? I always have that constant thing of that. But I realised I was associated with good people at the time. I had Harry and Tekkz on my journey and hashtag, and like put me in front of the camera and people will watch kind of thing. I think I'm a bit more confident now because of how well the house has done, where I'm like, hold on, like they are watching you for a different reason, not just you being a pro. But yeah, I think being around the right people at the right time, being able to collab with them and have them in my videos and stuff.
When you look back in sort of 18, Zelonius was streaming, getting really good numbers. You're associated with him just directly through Futwiz.
Mm-hmm.
You moved to hashtag, Harry, Spencer Owen. Not a bad name to be with.
Yeah.
Moved to XL, Gorilla, who, I mean,
Speaks for itself.
yeah, the YouTube numbers, Twitch streaming, and then you go back to Harry, get back on his coattails. So it's been it's been a bit of a journey. Speaking of the hashtag house, what's it like living with Shorey, Harry, and GC?
I always just say it's not real what I'm living right now. It's such a good time that I can't quite believe it. And I think I also get worried where I'm like, I hope this doesn't stop anytime soon because, yeah, it is. They've changed my outlook on life quite a lot because I'm someone that I'm very organised, very stressed. I get worried about things that I now realise being around them boys. I'm like, why do you even worry about it? Because if they're not stressed about it and they still carry on their lives, I think I've been insistent on this saying for at least 4 years now. Where I'm like, you are the product of your environment. If you associate yourself with certain people, you act like them. Probably the people you're the 5 people you're closest with. And now I'm with Harry, Shorey, GC all the time. I've noticed I've taken a lot of their good traits and put them into mine. And I think, yeah, just living with them is a dream. So like, I wake up and I think, like, seriously, this is what I get to do.
What is a typical day like in the hashtag house?
What do you want? A shoot day or an off day?
To be both. We got time.
Yeah. Shoot day. So we talk about the Sunday shoots. This has now changed the team season, but this will happen in 7 months. Shorey streams at 8 a.m. on the Friday. So I'll wake up at like 9:30 because I can hear Shorey shouting, get involved in his stream, eat breakfast. Shorey finishes at 11. We say, we're going to start about 12:30. And it's an 8 to 9 hour shoot every time. We never start on time because we're just the way we are. We can never get it right. We all eat. Then we plan. So it's like, right, we normally know the concept the day before at least. Like we do normally plan them out. But sometimes we'll be like, okay, how are we doing this? We have to set up 3 people's computers, PCs, lighting. You got to make sure we're all wearing tops, the right tops. We all use one from Harry's wardrobe. And then we film like a pack segment or a draft segment where we're either in the kitchen or we're in each other's rooms. And then we give ourselves a 20-minute break to get the team ready off camera, get everything sorted. There's a certain protocol. You get fined for doing certain things. If you don't have the spreadsheet open, because you have to fill in every result in a spreadsheet so the editor can see what's going on. If you haven't qualified for champs before you start, that's a hefty fine. And if you don't screen share your stuff, because basically we need to, one screen I'm watching Shorey and Harry, one screen I'm playing. So Harry will be like, Tom's losing, and I can just look like that and I can see what's going on, or Shorey's losing, whatever it is. And then, 12:30, 1, probably actually start filming at 1:30 because we're either setting up cameras or doing something. Film until 10, and then usually have a dinner break, like 10 games, sorry, not 10 p.m.
10 p.m. 8 hours of champs.
No, we have a dinner break then normally, or a food break. There's one thing about Shorey, that man's got to eat. You don't get in the way of his eating. And then go again in the second games where normally at half time, we call it half time, you'll just say, what's gone on in the video so far? Is there anything that needs to happen? If we know it's really flat, do we need to go outside and film something? Do we need to try and make something happen in terms of, we've added in a spin the wheel, and if we're all 10-0, we have to spin the wheel, which is basically going to give you a loss. Because we're like, we don't want it to just be us getting 20-0. It's boring. Like, people know we can go 20-0, so we try and avoid that. And then, are we moving around enough? Sometimes, if you're not in the mood, sometimes you sit at your desk too often. We have an unwritten rule. You've got to move around the house. You've got to be vlogging. You've got to be running around. Otherwise, there's no point in us just sitting at our desk playing. Like, you need to be part of the...
What are some of the hashtag house fines? Or how much are we talking?
Fines. A fine that goes around that I'm keen on is skid marks. No skid marks. Otherwise, That's a tenner straight away. I think we have the heavier fine. It's not really been settled, but it's at least £5 for not qualifying for champs or being late. It's £5 for not making dinner in a week, which I think should go up. I think we should put that at like 20 quid instead. Because Harry's exploited that sometimes. Pays a £5 and we make his dinners all week. He's cushy. Not paying dinners. There's a heavy one now of not replying. You're not allowed to blue tick someone in the chat if it's about work. If George asks for a thumbnail, if I ask for an idea, or if someone says something, if all 3 of us don't reply, it's straight pound to the fine jar.
I've got about 20 quid because I had a full day waiting for Tom to reply if he could do his podcast.
I was going to say, yeah, if you have done the fine system, I'd be out of pocket. I think there is others. There's a lot of them around lateness and shoots and also skiving. So if you haven't put it in the calendar, at least a week before, and then something comes up, we're going to have to find you. Because we've planned the week that you're here. So we'll plan that, sure, he can watch the edit. If he's gone home, then he can't watch it.
It seems very methodical, the entire process. Like, it seemed... I know you said right at the start of the podcast that you're sort of making it up as you're going along.
Yeah.
But it does seem like there is a structure to it. Because if there wasn't, it would just be carnage. And I think you get a controlled carnage. I think the best way of describing it. Like, you all know what you want out of the videos. You all know how you want to get those videos, but the actual process of doing it is a bit all over the place.
Yeah, I say to myself, the biggest achievement we've had in 7 months is consistently getting Harry to upload once a week, twice a week, and having a video every week. Because obviously Harry's a man of many interests. He's a crazy, crazy guy. The fact that we've managed to be consistent, and Harry's attitude towards it has been unbelievable as well. Like, his consistency compared to, I think I was expecting the worst, because I know I'm very good mates with him. I was thinking, I don't know if he'll be around for shoots because he's busy, he's got to play his champs. Everyone's attitude, I think we all have this one goal, and we've all given up a hell of a lot. Like, me and George have moved 4 hours up north, Shorey's moved away, Harry's given up a lot of his own content. We use his account sometimes for the videos. He gives up a lot of his time to shoot. I'm not stupid. Harry is the one that's pulling this channel a lot. Like, I compare it sometimes to KSI and Sidemen. Like, he is the one that pulls people in. And then once they start watching, hopefully they like all of us. But the fact that we've been this consistent, I think, is a testament to all four, because we all haven't been consistent on YouTube before. We've never consistently uploaded for like 6 months at a time. We've always had breaks, like all of us. So the fact that we've managed to do it, come together, I think is testament to all of us, especially George, because he's the one controlling it all and making sure it happens.
It's called the #house. How much support are you getting from #United, from Spencer? Like, are they happy with the progress? Do they care at all? Like, is it just you can have the names for this? Like, because I'm very intrigued from the outside looking in that you've got #house and you are #Tom again, but like Spencer's on the channel. Like, I don't really see too much involvement with #United.
Yeah.
Is it sort of a sister arm? Is it like a tree branch off?
Yeah, I'd say it's like a sister arm, like a mutually beneficial deal, because # get to stay in esports, and we are still pros that are competing, and I always will want to compete for #. But then they're there for anything, brand-wise. Seb is probably the best person I've ever met in terms of what he knows, how he does it. What him and Spencer have done at #, I honestly respect so much. So they have a lot of knowledge as well. Like, if we ever have questions, something that needs to happen, they're not involved in the day-to-day. Like, they wouldn't know who we're hiring, why we're doing that, what video's going out. But, they have Eddie there who does social media. He does a lot of our editing as well in his spare time. That's kind of come through us two working together. We haven't used it yet, but if we have a big shoot and we plan it in advance, if we've got a football shoot day where we might film 3 videos, we're like, ask them to come up as well. Like, Sammy, can you bring the cameras? Can help with that? And yeah, it's just like,
it's a lot behind the scenes.
Yeah, they're out there, the big brother, really. If you need YouTube advice, Spencer is the man. Like, he's conquered the whole platform.
You can answer this if you want or not. Are you the #house as a channel? You got a lot of people working for you. Have you made any profit yet, or are you operating at a loss still?
I wouldn't know. What I do know is everything. Yeah, everything just goes back in.
Okay.
So like, we're not taking anything out. We're not interested in.
You've made zero money from #house.
We know we're not gonna. Yeah, we had this agreement at the start. We said we're gonna have to do our own content, because whatever this group channel does, we're not gonna make from it for a while, because anything that goes in, we're like, right, I want a new camera, I want a new editor, I want a new video, I want new software, I want new storage, just anything, like, straight away. And we're happy to operate like that for now, because when the videos are that fun to make and we're having that much of a good time, we all kind of agreed, earn enough money to put your own thing in, make sure you're surviving yourself. The group stuff for now, I think we got a long-term plan that isn't, can we make money this second and get moving?
So I suppose from the outside, for people at home, you probably see 200k views, 250k views, and think, I tell you what, these guys are absolutely smashing it. But you do have, how much staff would you say you've got right now? Because you named probably at least 2 or 3.
I think as of today, we're about to release our first RTG episode. So we have 3 videos going out a week. I think you got 3 people. You got George, Nerdfire, and Mardy, who are like proper editors. And then you've got thumbnail guys as well, which, you know, do 3 thumbs a week. They come at a price. So I think we must pay at least 4 people. And then we also pay in our own time because we do a lot of the editing ourselves still. Like me, Shuri and Harry. Like on the Sunday vid, I'll edit that for 3 hours on a Thursday, every Thursday, or Shuri will as well. Like, because we want to basically perfect it this year. So we can just give someone a template next year and be like, this is what we do and this is how we do it.
This is the model.
Yeah, but we want to make sure our model's right before we push it out anywhere else.
So do you think what best case scenario, final sort of the where you want to be is you're just the stars of the channel. Like you turn up, the process is already in place and you just film.
Yeah, that's what we're really aspiring to do is how do we just turn up for the shoots and obviously have the ideas. We'll do the ideas as well. We don't want people making our videos for us. But, you know, how do we stop the behind the scenes? So we want to really be in a situation where we only have to watch the video when it's going out just to make sure it's what we want. But at the minute, we're still involved in that production.
Process.
Yeah, the process before it. We're still heavily involved in that because George can edit it. He probably could, but we know what we want and we want to make sure it's right. And we're also aware that George is probably doing a bit of a different role than he first anticipated, where he's on camera more. And he is a producer and cameraman more than editor. So it's like we wanted to make sure we get it right. And then, yeah, in the end, we want to be a lot more simple, but we know there's a lot of hard work to put in and get it now.
Final segment, a little bit of word association. I'm going to name 6 pros.
Mm-hmm.
And just tell me the first thing that comes into the mind when I say these names.
Okay.
Tekkz.
Go.
Dossery.
High press.
Anders.
Crazy.
Shuri.
Energy.
Harry.
More energy.
And Tom Leese.
Get in there.
Tom, thank you for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, mate.
Appreciate it.
Another fantastic episode of the Full 90 podcast. Like, subscribe, let us know down in the comments down below who you want to see next on the Full 90. Brandon will be back for the next episode, so you won't just have to deal with me. But thank you very much for watching.